Let's see what we got going on today. Running a little behind, but as the room fills up for those watching on replay, this is something we do pretty much every Sunday night, 8 o'clock ish Eastern Standard Time. The Sunday night Wonderful World of Generation X. What's going on, Maddie? First one in the room today, dude. That is fast, quick on the uptake. I miss you, buddy. Feel like I haven't seen you in months. Yeah, we do this every Sunday night right around 8 p.m., sometimes a little earlier, more often than not a little later. 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the same exact time that as kids we used to huddle around the TV and get warnings from our parents that we were too close to the TV, that we would ruin our eyes. Well, now we can sit around our screens with our readers on and get together and talk about all things Generation X. David, hello. Tammy Elaine, hello. Teresa Gordon, hello. Sheila, Michelle, Doreen, Knight Rider, my buddy Wirehead, north of the border. What's up, y'all? Tamara John. Hey, there's Kevin Pearpoint coming in. Psych. I guess someone forgot it was daylight savings time. Yeah, let's go with that. Now, it took me a little longer than I thought to edit a video that I just posted. Y'all probably haven't seen it because I literally posted it and then ran like hell to get on. But it took some getting together. Hey, John, you look as tired as I look tired? I don't feel tired. Do I look tired, y'all? Do I look... That hurts. I feel attacked. What's going on from Ohio? Julie, Jim Burt's coming in from Nashville. Well, Lacey, I don't feel tired. Busy, but not tired. Lawrence, hello. Debbie, hello. Maureen, hello. Julie Richards, hello. Paul and Stacy and Sid and Cindy. Michelle. What's up, guys? So what's the deal? What's going on this week? What happened this week in Gen X era history? What happened in the real world that we can talk about? What do y'all remember? What do you all want to make sure we never forget? Let's go. I will say that 40 years ago this week, to get us all started, Gen X proved how much we cared about the world. We were the world, and we are the world, launched from USA from Africa, and we all saw it playing over and over and over again on MTV. We requested it like crazy. Susan from 716 coming in. What's up? Patty 25. I see you, kiddo. What's going on? Good to see you. Patty is one of the oldest friends I have in this world. I joke about being a total dork, a dweeb, a nerd, a 40-pound soaking wet weakling with glasses thick enough to burn ants on the sidewalk on a wintry day. And Patty knew me back then. Don't know if I'm any better now, but I was definitely that back then. Josh Allen, 6 years, $330 million for the Bills contract renegotiation. Yeah, I mean, I'm always one that says I'd love to see the kid get a ring no matter how. Part of me is like, maybe, it's if we can't do it, he needs to somewhere. But we'll try one more year and see where it goes. Happy Sunday. Thank you so much, Dana. I appreciate that. Oldest friends are the best friends. I've got a mix. You'll see Matt Gordon on here. Matt is my best friend in the world. Him and his wife, Teresa, are amazing friends. I feel like I grew up with him. I have false memories, emotional memories of growing up together. It feels like we grew up together. I know him as well as someone I've known for 30 years. But that's the thing. I've got friends that I've known my entire life that years will go by, decades will go by without seeing them in person. And the minute I do, we pick up right where we left off. But at the same time, I have friends that I've known for 5, 6, 10 years, and they feel like lifelong friends. And then I've got followers that I'm beginning to think of as friends on here that we just lived the same life experiences. We grew up in different neighborhoods, but it was the same neighborhood. We had different parents, but it was the same parents. We grew up together, but apart. Patty says, life friends are the best. 315er, always, Patty. And then those friends know some of your most embarrassing memories, different impressions of you, I'm sure. Patty could probably tell you a few stories. Who knows? Maybe. Maybe I shouldn't even ask for that. We've seen each other naked. That's how good of friends we are. Oh, wait. No, did we? No, we have not. Have we? Dude, is that what trauma does? Because I've blocked that memory. Good evening, Kristen. What's going on, Luna? Life, good to see you, buddy. Andrew, Gen X Goonie, what's going on, brother? Mikey coming in from Los Angeles. Red. What are we talking about? I don't know. We could be talking about anything. I did start with We Are the World, USA for Africa. And I will say that that is just one example of many of how, we were raised as kids in an era of um, unity when it came to working for better. Now I think everybody's in their own little silos. Everybody seems to have their own causes, their own path to a better world. We kind of grew up in this world where we all kind of got on the same direction. We saw common problems in the world and did our little part, right? Our tiny little part to try to make it better. As Gen X kids in 85, I was 14 or 15. This time in March, I would have been 15. And as a 15-year-old, I remember, telling my parents that if I could call, I would pay to donate money. And we did. I remember as a kid donating every year, I think it was Labor Day, with the Jerry Lewis telethon, right? And sitting up there and watching TV long after it should have turned off. But during the telethon, I don't think it did turn off or it turned off later. To Kevin's point, I remember Live Aid, Queen's Performance. I remember Farm Aid. I remember Band Aid. I remember Hands Across America, a couple gaps in there. I don't think we made it quite hand to hand across America, but it was a cool concept. There it is. Sheila mentions Hand Across America. Maureen says, John, you are truly a nice, cool new Facebook friend. Always join your podcast. Appreciate that, Maureen. Thank you. We learned how to solve problems, or Andrew, we didn't solve them, and that was okay too. People call Gen X apathetic, not pathetic, apathetic, because they think we don't care about things. But what they don't realize is we care about change we can affect. And then we take action and we do it. If anything, I know some of the people that I talk to think we get too engaged and we jump right in and we try to solve everyone's problems. And that's the two gears we had. That's the two speeds we were given. We were given the speed of do it right away, do it, fix it, figure it out, MacGyver it, jury rig it, use whatever you've got on hand, figure it out and fix it, or put it over there. Just put it over there for a minute, right? Put it in a box, close the box up, lock it up, put it in a dark corner somewhere, pretend conceivably that it doesn't even exist for now. And that's the compartmentalization. I'm good, Mark. How are you? It's not that we don't care. It's that I'm not going to care right now because I can't fix it right now. And you know what? These other things I can. And I think that's what other generations don't get. This weekend was Buffalo Children's Hospital telephone in Buffalo. Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely remember that. And they changed Children's Hospital, right? I remember when it was on off of Delaware and Bryant. I lived right up the road from there. Figure it out. We did figure it out, Michelle, for better or for worse. How many of us had an adopted kid from Africa? Not literally, but when, what was her name? Sally Struthers would come on, like, it seemed like every other hour, talking about how for less than a cup of coffee a day, we could save some poor starving child. And we did. Or at least we tried to. At the very least, we got letters of pictures of, well, I don't remember his name right now, but he was attending school and eating rice and playing soccer, football, and I felt like I got to do that. Regina, I think there's something in there that will subscribe and unsubscribe unless you choose to automatically resubscribe. I'm not sure, but thank you for resubscribing. And I think I remember looking at some of the pictures and sharing. I think I took mine to school one day to show, how good a person I was. It was kind of, I was kind of proud of it. And the kid looked at it and goes, my God, I got the same kid. And at first I just thought he was being like a complete jerk. But apparently these were like packages they sent out. It wasn't necessarily our kid. But yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. And then soon thereafter, I remember we stopped getting letters. So my parents probably stopped giving that less than a coffee cup a day. But still, we tried. Happy Sunday, inspired creativity. My grandparents had a Chinese girl they supported. Well, that's good. Got to spread the love and money around. Why talk to death when you can know nothing about it? Just do it if you have a solution. Agreed. Maureen asks if I've ever been out to Washington State. Come visit. Never been to Washington State. Furthest I ever got west was, I don't know, to be honest. Not real far. Let's see. I am going to try to make it all the way out there to get to Oregon, maybe for the Goonies Festival. That might be something I have to do. What's going on? Whatever. Good name. Hello, everybody. Deb German, hello. Pen pals. I got my pen pal. So whenever somebody would move out of our school district, they created English homework for us. Wasn't that nice? Yeah, Dawn, I think we had the same person. Yeah, if somebody would move away, the teacher would look at it as an opportunity to create homework for us. Hey, Jody. So I remember we would write to them a few weeks after they left and keep in touch. Hope you're doing well, blah, blah, blah. I also think I got a pen pal from Big Blue Marble. Do you guys remember that? The Big Blue. It was like a TBS, PBS show. Don't get dysentery. Fun fact. If you guys go to my page or to Google, and Google Oregon and dysentery, you will see that last week there was a major dysentery outbreak in Oregon. Can't make it up. Literally the truth. There was a dysentery outbreak in Oregon last week. So, yeah. Yep. It's happening. Next thing you know, there'll be earthquake popping up everywhere. Not earthquake. I said that wrong. Quicksand. I meant to say quicksand. You have died of dysentery more than once. What's going on, Robert? Are they still dysentery in Oregon? It's a thing. Had a pen pal from Australia in the 3rd grade. Most of us completely failed at Oregon Trail. Pen pal from Japan. If in Oregon, go to Crater Lake. I do want to hit at least 2 things. I actually have spoken with the guy that, hey, Meg Bucknam, another friend that I've had since nearly birth. I had just blew my mind. It's gone. Psh. See what you do to me, Meggie? 2 things. 2 things. I did see the big contract extension. My buddy Matt just showed it, the $331 million. That's twice I got knocked off that track. Maybe it's not something I'm supposed to talk about. Oh, Oregon. If I go up, thank you so much, Stacy. I want to absolutely see the Goonies house. I talked to the guy that actually owns it, and I've got a standing invite, so I'm pretty excited about that. And the second thing is the last remaining Blockbuster videos in, Chris Scott just said it, Bend, Oregon. So I definitely want to hit that. I definitely want to do that. So we'll see. It's in Bend. Absolutely is, LA. I definitely want to see it. Since I've joined the Peter Noon fan club from Herman's Hermits, I have a lot of new Noonatic friends from his fan club. Is that where you're out there, Karen? Very cool. I'm not getting all the comments, and I just realized why. Out of YouTube, but I'm fixing it now. There we go. We need an 80s convention. So here's the deal. Can I still do the $6 million man intro? The Steve Austin, a man barely alive. Yeah, I can do that. We can rebuild him. Stronger, faster. I love that show. But somebody mentioned 80s convention. So a lot of the Comic-Cons, MegaCon, Comic-Con, GalaxyCon, a lot of those conventions are turning into almost Galaxy are turning into, you're welcome, Cindy, are turning us into like they're doing a pop culture convention a lot of times. I went to MegaCon in Orlando. I put up a lot of content, and the Breakfast Club crew were there. Karate Kid crew were there. Happy Days crew were there. So they do a lot of that. So I am currently in the process of applying for passes to a lot of these different conventions. So hopefully I'll be able to at least, the schedule is tight. So we're looking more towards 2026 at this point. But I did apply for the Chicago convention because the entire Breakfast Club crew will be there. So there's a convention in Chicago I applied for. There's one in Raleigh, GalaxyCon. I'm hoping to go to that one. Already booked for a Lexington, Kentucky one next year. And again for MegaCon in Orlando next year. So keep an eye out. That's where I'm hoping to meet some of y'all. I'll let you know what my convention schedule looks like. If it gets to the point, some are talking about allowing me to interview panels, which would be amazing, so that I could actually get up on stage and talk to some of these 80s era stars, bring you guys into the conversation. And then again, depending on how big things go, at some point I'd like to get a room. Not that kind of room, not talking that, but like a room so that we can have our own panel. Where's my Bills hat? It's here. I've got a lot of them, but spring is coming. Switching kind of over to baseball. Come to South Carolina, Marianne. I am in South Carolina. Have one in Myrtle Beach. It's only a couple hours for me. 3.5 hours. Matt, how far are we from Myrtle? About 3.5 hours. Linda Logan, I'd love to come to San Diego. Comic-Con there would be amazing. And Kevin, although it is baseball season, you got to know, if you've been following me for a while, that won't stop the Bills apparel. Just not all the time, every time. Spread it in here and there. But did you die? The GenX motto. More than once, probably. John, we were only about 300 miles from Portland, Oregon, in Spokane, Washington. All right. Yeah, 3 to 3.5 hours. My mom and stepfather live in South Carolina on St. John's Island. Yeah, I'm upstate. I'm on the Panhandle. So, Michael Lee, I'm about 20 minutes south of you, Mr. Bowitz. I am in Indian Land. When are you coming to Canada? Judy, I've got first cousins and nephews and nieces that live in Toronto. They have a great Comic-Con. Just not going to be able to make it this year. They've already closed down passes for that. So probably next year for that. Have I ever been to PA? I drive through Erie every time I go home. Does that count? How about a cruise? I've had different groups reach out to me. I've had... what are they called? We don't have much of them anymore. Help me here. I'm freezing. Travel agents. I've had travel agents reach out to me and see if I would be interested in setting up a Gen X sort of cruise, whether on my own or in conjunction with other creators. Just, I don't know. Not something that resonated with me. What did I think about the late Pete Rose? I thought he was an amazing athlete. I thought he is an icon of pop culture. I don't believe the penalty met the crime. I think he should have been indicted into the Hall of Fame a long time ago. Just my opinion. If you disagree, that's okay. I've been to Omaha once. Actually, Rachel, you answered the question I was asked earlier. What's the furthest west I've ever been? That would be it. Grew up in Lockport. I am originally from a very small town on Lake Ontario in upstate Western New York called Wolcott, New York. Was born in Rochester. My parents moved about 40 minutes east of Rochester. Apple country, second largest apple producing county in the country at one point. Nothing but apple orchards and cornfields. And the best childhood you could imagine. Good friends. Out roaming the streets at all hours of the night on my bike, parents having no idea where I would be at any given time. So that was amazing. I went to school at the University of Buffalo. UB alum, go Bulls. Lived in Buffalo for about 12 years before getting married to the love of my life, a Greek girl, good Greek girl, making my mama happy. Moved to Rochester and lived there until about 9 years ago. 9 years ago, came down to the Charlotte area. Best rock band in the 80s? There was a few. Guns N' Roses, okay. Van Halen, for sure. Had a Scorpions kick for a little bit. What is my social security number? 867-5309. Add zeros wherever you feel appropriate. How'd I end up in South Carolina? Just got tired of the snow. Got tired of the cold. Got tired of the snow. Got tired of the taxes. New York is a very expensive place to live. You'd think it would be on discount since like 7 months of the year you see no sun, freeze your ass off, and are shoveling or snowblowing snow forever. But no, you pay a premium for that kind of situation. Journey, REO saw both in concert. Motley never saw in concert. Definitely good. Grew up in Ohio, got very tired of the cold. It just, New York, man, especially by the lake, we'd get that lake effect snow from hell. Well, not from hell, hell's hot, but your nose would literally, not figuratively, kids say literally, this is really literally, it would freeze shut. Just the moisture in your nose would literally turn to ice and your nose would freeze shut. Never got forgot the video of Pete Rose emptying his pockets. Shouldn't have, or you, yeah. He did a mistake. He broke the rules, no doubt about it. And when you break rules, you encounter consequence. Just didn't match up for me. Considering what we've seen since Pete Rose, not just in sports, but in sports and in corporate America and in politics and in the media, and it's seems like I'm a comic book geek, and in the comic book geek world, there used to be a saying that the only superhero that stays dead was Jean Grey. Now, that might not mean much to any of you who didn't grow up on comic books, but basically every other superhero would die and come back and die and come back. Jean Grey and Bucky, for the longest time, were two superheroes that died and for whatever reason weren't allowed to come back until the comics finally did bring them back. Well, Pete Rose is like that. He was the only one where the punishment actually stuck for his entire life. No reprieve, no way out. Even Bucky and Jean Grey came back. He was not allowed to. And I don't know. That didn't sit well with me. Dark Phoenix. Yeah, I got some comic book people in here. That's pretty cool. Oh, yeah. Once they started bringing her back, there was just no way to stop. They brought her back a million different times. Even Superman, I mean, they literally, figuratively, metaphorically, fictionally killed off Superman. It was a great comic series. The death of Superman was amazing if you were a comic book kid. It was totally running to the comic book store on that day to pick up that comic. That was an amazing. The 90s were stupid with comic books. It was like the platinum age of comic books. It was amazing. And I grew up with that. Weather and wildfires in South Carolina, nowhere near me, thankfully. Coming to Tucson. I don't know the comic. I'm just literally, I went to one convention and it was so amazing. I could not believe how many of you guys recognized me. It was ridiculous. If you see the pictures I posted on my Facebook account, you'll see dozens of people that came up, and those are just the people that allowed me to post. I took pictures with people that for their own reasons weren't comfortable being posted, and that's cool. That was fine. But I'm telling you, there were a lot of people, so that's cool. And you guys if you have contacts, if you're going to a convention, if you think there's like really good guests going to a specific convention, go to my link tree. Send me an email. Let me know. Send me a link. Direct messages don't work as well just because I get so many that I get lost in them. But email me. I'll see what I can do. I just did a post maybe a week ago about 1977 era television shows and soap. Chris was part of that. Thank you, life. If that was for me. No one dies anymore in movies or comics. Wizard World in Chicago. I don't know if that's the one. The Breakfast Club crew, inclusive of Emilio Estevez, have just signed on for one of the conventions in Chicago, and I just sent out my application. So we'll see. Fan X in Utah is amazing. I'll check it out. A little far. What's going on, Don in Binghamton? Hopefully the weather has turned for y'all. Day's going well, Dan. Thank you. Blister Bill, what's going on? Carlos, it sucks living in Ohio because my mom's side of the family, along with her, have passed. And I think it's the only time we got together is when someone passes on. Yeah, so when we're in our 20s, so as kids, we hate weddings. We're dragged there by our parents. We're threatened with the threat of death that if we misbehave, if we ruin our good clothes, if we embarrass them, then they'll be held to pay. And we did all of the above at one point or another, and there was hell to pay. In our 20s, we went to the weddings, and they were ours or our friends, and it was a party, and every wedding we went to was the best wedding anyone ever had. That was cool. It was fun looking at all the old people there, and they were so cute when they would get up and dance too. Now we are the old people at the wedding, I guess, and we get together more often than not for funerals than we do for weddings. And if we do go to a wedding, it's usually for a kid or a grandkid, and we're the first to go. C2E2 in Chicago, that's the one. That's absolutely the one. And now I just realized that's you, Luna. So let's see. There you go, Luna. I forgot that was you. Enjoy the moderating power, although people seem to be behaving right now. That's a good idea. I like that. Big Dave says we need to incorporate the CBS special for the start of our streams. Probably get sued, but it's a great idea. I absolutely loved it. Charles with the super chat, $5 donation. Thank you so much for the gift, dude. I appreciate you. Unnecessary, but always appreciated. It's amazing how much that adds up, guys. And this is it for me now, for the most part. This is what I really am enjoying doing. I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. I every now and then I'll get someone in the comments making a comment like, "Why don't you go get a real job?" To me, it's not only become a real job, it's become a dream job. And I don't know if that means I'm privileged. I don't know if that means I'm somehow entitled because I get to do this. All I know is that I'm grateful. Meyerhead, thank you for the gifts of the memberships. All I realize is that I am absolutely grateful beyond belief. It's a dream come true, and I try to give back as much as I get. I try, one way or the other. Still bartend 2-3 nights a week, but that's less and less, and more often I'm forced to take the nights off, but I'm trying. I've had more Gen X friends passing away in the last couple of years. Yeah, that happens, Melanie. I'm so sorry. I prefer when it's just you and not a group. I try to do a mix. Am I hiring? That's funny. People tell me, why don't I? You know what you should do? You know what you should do? You should like start a company where you teach other people to do this and charge, for video classes. Shoot me in the head now. There is no way I would turn this into that kind of job. Some people are great at it. I'm fortunate that my content is me talking to y'all. And the fact that people want to see it is amazing. Travin, I swear Gen X is the best sense of humor. Kind of twisted, kind of sarcastic. Makes me happy to have others in the same demented way. Dude, I did a post where I was asking one of the servers at our restaurant if she knew what made the Space Shuttle Challenger special. And I put in a clip from Brady Bunch in there, kind of as a clue, as a hint, as a joke. And it's Mrs. Brady saying, "It went kaboom." And one of the people was like, how dare you? How dare you make fun of a national tragedy? People died. And I'm like, part of me is like, dude, I did actually think about it before doing it. The fact that someone died in the Challenger, that 7 someone's died on the Challenger, was not lost upon me. I was, to answer your question, sitting in class taking a test when it happened. But I was also the kid. Thank you so much, Charles Martin says I saw the clip. Listen, I was also the kid that the day after it blew up was asking people, how many astronauts can you fit in a Volkswagen Bug? How did you know Christy McAuliffe's eyes were blue? How did you know she had dandruff? It's not funny because people died, but it is this dark sense of humor that a lot of us, not all of us, share. And I don't litigate whether that's right or wrong. I don't adjudicate it. I don't, here they come. Here come all the jokes. We don't make light of it, but it's what we did. It's what we do. And the only thing I told that person really was, listen, if it's not for you, the internet's a big place. I don't pretend to be, and I don't have nearly a big enough ego to think that a lot of people find me funny or that I am it for everyone. Internet's a big place. Go find where you're happy. Watching Friday. Did you ever like the movie? I liked Friday. So how many can you fit, Charles? Don't make me answer that. Super chats that come up in YouTube, you will notice that it slows down and I do have to read it. I'll tell you that the answer is 11. 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and 7 in the ashtray. Yeah. So that was that. That's who we were. We also grew up on being able to purchase volume 1, 2, and 3 of Truly Tasteless Jokes at our book fairs in school. We told dead baby jokes, grosser than gross jokes. It's a coping mechanism. And if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, you don't. And it's okay. It's okay if you do, and it's okay if you don't. Don't ever wish bad upon anyone, and I don't. But sometimes laughing is better than crying. I can tell you the giggles never hit me worse as a kid than at a funeral. I don't know what the hell that was, but put me in a place where laughter is inappropriate, like a funeral or just church. The beatings I got because I could not stifle a giggle between me and one of my brothers at church. All we'd have to do is lay eyes on each other and we were done. Super chat coming in from David. Shout out to David Oberholzer. Dude, thank you so much for the 10 spot. How many movies did I sneak in to see and what were they? So when I grew up, we had one theater in town. Wolcott, New York had the Palace Theater. And the Palace Theater was only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, and it showed one movie a week. So there was no real sneaking in, and it was only $2. But when I got to high school, we'd go to Webster in Rochester nearby, and there'd be the Lowe's Cineplex. And that we'd go pay for one movie and then sneak into a bunch of others. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many or which movies. There were some that I would go see constantly. Like if I went to see any movie and that movie ended and they were still showing The Last Dragon with Bruce Leroy, The Glow, dude, for whatever reason, I could watch the last 20 minutes of that movie on repeat over and over and over again. Constantly would jump in to catch the last 20 minutes of that. I missed the drive-in, $5 for a carload. Luna says that was my jam. I did that, especially like the last 30 minutes of that. Who's my favorite actor? A lot of the actors we grew up watching I really like a lot. The Brat Pack definitely were formative in my formative years. They were people I looked up to. They emulated the person I wanted to be, that sort of thing. St. Elmo's Fire, The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, all that stuff. TV, Lee Majors as a kid. Dude, if I could have grown up to be anybody, I think I spent most of my childhood years running in slow motion and going. Debbie, thank you for the stars. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Cubicle Nate, $10. Thank you for the gift, bro. Says you have given me a lot of smiles. I've been introducing my own kids to 80s classics. Thanks for the great nostalgic videos that make me laugh and encouraging me to revisit the 80s. Dude, appreciate you so much. Major shout out. Major shout out for sharing it with your kids. I get more and more messages that I watch with my kids, or I send it to my kids, and that's among my favorites in terms of comments I get. And for me, it's the 70s, it's the 80s, it's the 90s. It's all those 3 decades that took me from 0 to 30. And even the 2000s, the 2010s that I as a dad, that's beginning to feel nostalgic. We watched with my 2 daughters today. We just got done watching Legally Blonde, which, believe it or not, was 2001. That's 24 years old now. The actors in that movie, one and all Gen Xers. Like Elle is almost 50. Thank you so much, Jilly Moon. Appreciate the subscription. So I like a lot of them. We think of them as younger for some reason. They're right there with us. Big Dave K heading out the door. Gotta know what is coming in the door. What's your favorite animated flick from the 80s? Don Bluth films. Animated movie. I can tell you my favorite Saturday morning cartoons. Anything Super Friends, anything superheroes, He-Man, Super Friends. All of that stuff. In terms of, I don't really remember a lot of animated movies, but yeah, that stuff, the specials, any of those things that came on that had that CBS logo flying on a weekday at 8:00 was incredible. Got to teach them. So, well, what's funny is we are the forgotten generation. I just had another video sent to me that people were mentioning how there's that other generation between millennials and boomers. Who are those guys? And it's funny that we are the forgotten generation that grew up in the most unforgettable time. Maybe the light from the years that we grew up in was so bright that it blinded us out. I don't know. Luna says it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? Listen, on the East Coast brothers and sisters, my Buffalo vets, my veterans of the Buffalo area, the Rochester, New York, Syracuse, New York, that promo always played before the nightly news. And I guess y'all out on the West Coast, earlier it came on, 10 o'clock news. Our news came on at 11. So for those of you that were asked, do you know where your children are at 10 p.m.? Irv said it at 11 in Buffalo. In Rochester, New York, it's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? We got an extra hour on the rest of you. And I keep forgetting. I'm absolute. There it is, right there, Pitfall Harry. Irv Weinstein, I just said it. 11 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? We were extra feral. We got an extra hour on the rest of y'all. After school specials. One of them was a story from your hometown. That's pretty cool. Irv was definitely the man. Orchard Park in the house representing. We will rule forever, says Joanne. Actually, we never rule anything. Hey, Thomas Meyer, I see you. We're not in politics. We're not heading corporations yet. Some, but it's funny. We ruled amongst ourselves, and I think that's okay with us. Midwest, 10 p.m. Yeah, as soon as you got over, it started at 10. But like I said, on the East Coast, if you're Rochester, if you're Buffalo, it's 11 p.m. Travin, what weighs more than a pound? What weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of iron? The feathers, because you have to carry the memory of what you did to those poor birds. Gen X humor right there. Good call. But it is funny. Somebody once said, what weighs more, a pound of gold or a pound of feathers? And I think it's gold because gold is measured in a different version of pounds. So it literally weighs more. I don't know. Jody says, thank you for bringing back the memories. You make great content. Thank you. Isn't it time for the wonderful world of Disney, says Lewis. That's exactly why we get together. If you don't know, or if you're new here, that's why we do it at 8 p.m. Sunday or thereabouts if I'm running a little late. It's definitely because this is the wonderful world of Gen X. SB says, Real Man with Emilio Estevez. Definitely. Repo Man, I think is what you meant, but yeah, absolutely without a doubt. Sheila Bug celebrating 8 months as a Gen X Avengers subscriber on YouTube. Yeah, Repo Man. I figured it out as soon as I read it. I do remember the cartoon The Littles vaguely. Wasn't a regular watcher. Watching Porky's on HBO while babysitting my brother. We'd eat pizza and watch the R movies our parents wouldn't let us watch. If you asked my parent what's an R-rated movie, they would not have had a clue. Maybe it's because we were Greek, maybe it's because the pop culture escaped them for whatever reason. Not a thing. It wasn't a thing. The only time my mom would give a second look is on television, if before a show, if we were all sitting there. Autofill is a motherfucker. Yeah, I knew what you meant though. Thank you for the gift. If a TV show was coming on, and before the show started, it threw up that screen that said the following presentation is blah, blah, blah. It depicts images of this, of that, and the other thing. Parental discretion is advised. If my parents heard that, my mom would give a second look. Like, what is this parental discretion? Parental guidance. She's like, someone was calling out her mothering parental skills. So that gave her pause. But other than that, not so much. And it still didn't stop half the time. So we had one TV. They weren't going to send us into our rooms at 9 o'clock at night because we'd make too much noise. So usually she's just like, all right, don't tell your teacher you saw this. Look who it is. Howdy. Anita Furby. Oh, okay. Revenge of the Nerds was awesome, without a doubt. Watched The Exorcist when I was 9. Dude, we watched it all. We saw it all. Man, I saw The Exorcist. I saw Risky Business. I saw Pet Sematary, Poltergeist, Amityville Horror, Cujo. I was reading Pet Sematary at the age of like 11 in my room at 2 in the morning, parents asleep. And then you'd realize your mistake. You'd read too late into the night and now it's dark. And now you're scared and everybody else is asleep. But you can't sleep because now you're scared to death that a vampire is going to come through the window or Gage is going to walk in the room giggling with a surgical knife. So you just keep reading. What else are you going to do? My mom would come into the room at 7 in the morning saying, it's time to make the donuts, and wake me up for school, and I hadn't slept. Dude, this is like old friend's house. I saw Marge Malik. Keith Reynolds, a buddy of mine, also from my formative years, just joined in. Keith, what's going on, brother? Known me from the days of the glasses thick enough to burn the sun. Salem's Lot. Might have been my first, that or Um, oh, what's the one with the guy that could see the future? Christopher Walken played him in the movie. That might have been my first. Blazing Saddles. Can I name all the John Cusack movies? Probably not, but I still want my $2. Was it $4? $2. Dead Zone. Thank you. That's the one. Say Anything. Better Off Dead. He was in some great movies. Bridget, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you guys for the support. You guys are the best. You guys are the absolute best. And full transparency, getting on here every Sunday at 8 o'clock, not the easiest thing in the world. I'm not saying it's a hard life. I'm not saying what I do is difficult, but sometimes it does. It takes a little bit of energy to effort to get my energy up because I want to be up. I want this to be so cool every week. And I'm not sure it is, but every week within 5 minutes of getting on here, I am so happy that I do it every week. It makes my week. It's my kids spending time with my wife and kids aside, best part of my day. Fox and the Hound. I just did a video where I talked about some of the movies that like crushed our souls as both young and older Gen Xers. And a lot of people mentioned Fox and Hound, which I didn't really find that sad. It's not like either of them died. The Hound didn't eat the fox. He let him get away. So that wasn't too sad. Bambi, that gunshot ringing out was the exact moment I pinpoint my childhood ending. Didn't see it coming. And I just remember being a kid and not knowing exactly what happened. And you realize the funniest part of Bambi is the deadbeat dad, right? Like that's the thing I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about. We all talk about Bambi and the mom, but as soon as the mom is dead, we get that image of that large buck talking to Bambi and just saying, basically you have to yell a lot louder. Your mom can't hear you anymore. And, without so much as child support or, making sure the kid's okay, he's gone. That was the moment my childhood died. My Girl was on my list. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. The Champ, I don't even like to think about it. It was so sad. I missed that one. Old Yeller, I don't know what you're talking about. Old Yeller was a 45-minute movie, family fun. I'm claiming Phoebe on that one. Never Ending Story was on the list. Here's what I don't get about Never Ending Story, and it seems like so many of our Gen X movies. Okay, you can put the blame on Artex, Kevin, right? You can say Artex, stupid horse. Why was Artex the only one that went down? If my beloved, this was a swamp of sadness, right? Sadness takes you out. For whatever reason, the horse was too sad to live. After not being able to pull Artex out, the kid went on. The kid barely got his shoes wet. He was like doing Jesus, walking on water. He didn't sink even a tiny little, tiny bit. So, I mean, that's a little weird to me. Brian's song, another good one. Good night, TJ. Cool. Thank you so much for being here, a subscriber. Appreciate you. E.T., Starman, neither one made me cry. Maybe I'm dead inside. That didn't get me. Michael, thank you for the stars. Top Gun or Iron Eagle. It's an easy one for me. Yeah, I mean, Lou Gossett, dude, the guy was an icon and a legend, but Top Gun. The only thing I'll say about Top Gun, and I will say this forever, Cindy, we don't use that word around here, beaches broke me. And a girlfriend at the time dragged me to see that movie. I don't know what possesses someone to make a movie like that. But yeah, bad. But good song. Bette Midler, great soundtrack. I'm man enough to admit that. Goose didn't have to die. I get that allowed Maverick to let him. First of all, Maverick let him go. Goose has kids, at least a kid. He had a wife. Dude, you didn't have the right to throw his tags over the ocean like that. That pissed me off. That was almost as bad as the old lady dropping like what would have been intergenerational wealth off the boat at the end of Titanic. But what do you expect of a woman who wouldn't share a door with her dying boyfriend? So I don't know. Goose didn't have to die. Mav should not have thrown the tags into the ocean, and there was room on that door for two. That's my take. Iceman caused the flat spin. Absolutely. I'm here to just give you different takes on movies that you may not have thought of before. But I mean, come on. Who wasn't like, Rose, what are you doing? When she dropped that necklace in the water, dude, what are you doing? Dreams May Come. That's a great, yep, I love that one. Green Mile, very emotional. Red Dawn, good movie. Dear Dirty Harry, I saw part of today. Gene Hackman, rest in peace. Why did he throw the tags? Because he heard the voiceover in his head saying, you got to let him go. You got to let him go. And that seemed like, the voices in his head were telling him, throw away what might be the only physical memory representation of his father's military career that his kids could hold on forever. Just toss it in the ocean. That's a video. We can do that. We can do that. Moments in the movies you may not have thought of. Definitely Room on the Door. Cocoon bothers me because, dude, most of them were, not most of them, but at the very least, Diabetes Guy was younger than I am now. There's a deleted scene where the crew confronts Rose. Is there a deleted scene where Jack says, move your ass over, I'm coming up? Atreyu losing his horse. But again, why was Atreyu not sad? Like I said, his feet didn't get wet. His shoes came out of that not muddy. If my beloved pet is dying and I'm trying to pull him out, I'm at least knee deep. That's the way I see it. That moment was a loss for me. Favorite all-time movie is The Killers Police Academy. Police Academy, huge on so many levels. So many levels. Great soundtrack. The nerds win. The bully gets what he's got coming. Just hit on all. Great movie. Great cast. Great writing. Funny. Introduced us really to Steve Guttenberg. I love it. We can all agree the Never-Ending Story 2 was garbage. I never even saw it. Now, when Never-Ending Story 1 came out, I was kind of getting, Fred Savage was real little in it, but they filmed it early on. I was a little older, not young enough to watch it, but by the time 2 came out, I wouldn't have been. Taking off. Good seeing you, LA. Taps. I've forgotten about Taps. Another great cast, great movie that just ends horribly wrong. Mr. Destiny, I don't know that I saw that. Steel Magnolias made my list. I had that on a list of tearjerkers. What happened to comedy movies? Bring back comedy shows, old comedies. Could I shoot Old Yeller in the face? Dude, it's not even. So they gave the gun to Timmy. Timmy. Yeah. Timmy. They're like, Timmy, here, you go do this. Like that's the moment. It's not that just, Yeller was in the throes of rabies, rabid. Like it's that they gave the gun to Timmy and said, here, dude, go take care of it. That's not even Gen X era tough. That's like crazy older boomer, younger silent gen tough. That I talk about how we're tough because we grew up on playgrounds designed to kill us. We weren't given a shotgun and told to go kill the family dog. That's a different level that I'm glad I don't represent. The Outsiders, oh, dude, crushed me at the end. Kimberly, thank you. Appreciate that. I spit on your grave. Boomer for sure. Yeah, that kind of tough, I don't want anything to do with. And, and it's tough. Kids today are like, we have it tough. Housing prices are high. Kids today have it tough. They work 40 hours a week and can't afford a one-bedroom apartment in a luxury high-rise. Kids today have it tough. Maybe it's tough affording an apartment without a roommate. I get it. I didn't have an apartment without a roommate for the longest time, but that's the version of tough. I get it. Financially, things are tough right now for everybody. Have you seen the price of eggs? Maybe we shouldn't have killed all those birds. Maybe sick birds laying eggs isn't the worst thing that can happen. I don't know. I don't even pretend to know. But I do know that our parents, our uncles, our aunts, our grandparents World War One, World War Two, Korea, Vietnam. My parents overseas in Europe, growing up in Greece. My dad was born in Greek occupied Russia, and his dad was seized by the communists because they wouldn't relinquish their Greek citizenship. So, yeah, my dad woke up one night at the age of 12 to see communists ripping his dad out of the house. And then he got to Greece. They escaped. They made it back to mainland Greece in time for World War II and the occupation, where the Germans and Italians took over. Dude, that's tough. I don't envy them that. You know, when people throw out the okay boomer, when people talk about how tough we have, listen, yes, our playgrounds were Darwinistic nightmares designed to weed out our weak. I make fun of that, but I know that we're not the toughest generation ever. Still the best, still the coolest, but tough, dude. Tough stopped being tough a long time ago. Thoughts on the Corey's era of movies? Corey's era of movies. Yeah, Justin missing Vietnam. I missed it by a good long time. I do remember being in college during the first Gulf War. I shouldn't even do quotes because people still got hurt. Yes, they were waving white flags to CNN news crews, but there's still biological weapons being utilized. I should not make light of it, but I remember being scared out of my mind that they would reinstitute the draft, and my grades were down at that point. So I'm like, I got to do something here. Kids today don't even sign up for selective service. Here's a fun game. Find somebody between the ages of 18 and 25, a guy, and ask him what selective service is. Ask him if, he's gone to the post office, or maybe now they can do it online. I don't know. Ask them if they've signed up for selective service. It's scary. It shocks the heck out of me. None of them have. I've yet to find an 18, 19, or 20-year-old, 21-year-old that signed up for the draft. And that's a huge part of my memory, turning 18, going to the post office and signing up because I had to. Ask most what it meant to be a UN peacekeeper. Desert Storm, Desert Shield veteran. God bless you, man. Appreciate you so much. Is that a showing board? Don't know what that is. I signed up when I went down and enlisted. God, dude, I have nothing but the utmost respect for each and every veteran that ever served and sacrificed, for their families that served and sacrificed, for the moms with sleepless nights. Absolutely nothing but love for all of y'all. Is it a requirement? Yeah, it's the law. To this day, it's the law. It's not an active draft, but you're supposed to sign up. Hey, Michael, Greek family. Yep, both parents and in-laws. My mom was absolutely pissed at me when I did the selective service test. I mean, I didn't want to serve. First of all, my eyesight might have kept me out anyway. Especially, I can't imagine Desert Shield, Desert Storm, all that sand. You get some sand in one of these. I mean, without these contact lenses, I am blind as a bat. -7 in each eye. I can't see squat. And before y'all ask, yeah, they're clear contact lenses, but they're there. Tried to enlist, too deaf. Yeah, I think I would have been too blind. I would have been a hazard to everyone should one contact lens go. It would have been me like dodgeball in the 5th grade when Mr. B, he took my glasses from me because he didn't want them to break. I was just throwing balls in any direction I possibly could and doing what I could to avoid the balls that were blurringly flying towards my face. Boy, did that come out wrong. Every time I relay that story, I literally walk into saying it like that. Andrew says a lot in Germany. Most of Europe, dude, does the mandatory service. Greece does it as well for a short period of time. I think it's 18 months, maybe less. You can buy your way out. You can get deferments. Grew up in Chicagoland. Lots of Greeks. Dude, I appreciate that so much, Keith. I love it when I hear that husbands and wives watch together. That's cool as hell. Welcome back, LA. What else we got? Let's see. What would have been happening? I don't know. What are your earliest memories of where you would have been in this year? So it's March 2025. Let's go back 40 years. March of 85. Where are most of y'all? I would have been, yeah, I had to do the math. I would have been 15, sitting in high school, 15, a year away from my permit, dreaming about a car, still using my bike to go everywhere and anywhere, being responsible for my own rides to places. By that point, my parents had completely disengaged from being responsible for picking me up. Um, 85 was a good year. 85 was an amazing year in movies. Every week, a new banger was coming out of the theater, one absolutely incredible. Kristen says newly married and hating it. Getting ready to graduate high school, grade 5 from Williams, 7th grade. You know, it's for me, it was the sweet spot. 84, 85, 80, no, 85, 86, 87, and 88. That was high school. I graduated in 1988. I got to run all that John Hughes era literally in high school. So as we were going in school and seeing it, when going to the movies and seeing it on screen, I was watching it in real life, in real time, at the same time. We'd walk through our high schools in 1986, 1987, and you're like, there's Molly Ringwald. There's Bender. There's Andrew, Emilio Estevez character. There's Anthony Michael Hall's character, Brian. I mean, he nailed it. John Hughes nailed what it was like to be a kid back then. And some of us were a little bit of all of those characters, right? That's why the end resonated so well with us, that we were all those things. I love that. I can't imagine growing up in a better time. The 50s were the 50s, 60s, great. 70s, great childhood. But the 80s in high school, I don't know how you beat that. Would have been 6 or 7 back in 85. Wirehead showing his Canadian with grade 13. We call that senior year here. Anybody else class of 88? There's Michael. I see a Michael Lee. 88 rocks. John Hughes was brilliant. Why is Jono in the looking glass? I don't quite get the reference. Class of 98. My youngest Gen Xers. Movie was very well written, and the vast majority of it, rewrites aside, he did it in like 2 days. He wrote that so quickly. And genius, too, because he really wanted that one to get picked up. So when you look at the movie, there are no set changes. Everything happens in that one location. They were able to build it 2 levels. There's the library above. There's the room they're in down below, but everything's in that one thing. So it was really inexpensive to put together. He really made that possible so that it was somebody who would pick up his first movie. Pandora coming in from 88. Tammy, I know you're a 90s kid. Rob Bomberger, class of 87. Scully coming in class of 2000. I just saw a highlight. I don't know my first name. Is Steven, about the kidnapped boy who found years later eventually died in a motorcycle wreck. I don't remember. Oh, it does sound familiar now that you mention it. But there were so many of those, basically cautionary tales, the after school specials like that. They were supposed to teach us something, because God knows parents weren't around to teach us. No shade being thrown at them. They were at work, or some people have relayed to me they were at the bar. My parents were at work. And so we were watching these things alone. We had public service announcements constantly telling us, hey, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Don't do crack. It's whack. Just say no to drugs. We had movies with Scott Baio, Chachi, being stoned. If you've never seen the after school special Stoned, it was horribly done. I don't know that it was laughable. They got stoned and just started like having the surge of energy. And I'm like, have you ever been stoned a day in your life? Because I don't know any of my friends that got stoned and then started like running around outside like lunatics. Not the best representation. If you passed out on the couch after playing Sega for 20 minutes, that might have been my friends in college. The Wraith, great movie. but the after school, if you just look at nothing but the titles. I did a video once where I just read the titles. My mother beats me when she's angry. I was a teenage alcoholic. They're insane. Do I remember Dare? For me, I was more of a sad kid than I was a Dare kid. I'm wondering if Dare came after. No, I guess it was a thing in my school now. I remember it. We got the t-shirts, but I was a member of SAD instead. Burning Bed, a completely different kind of cautionary tale. That and Lorena Bobbitt, two reasons why men that were not good to their wives went to bed with one eye open. Drugs are really expensive. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, mad. Students Against Drunk Driving, sad. Can't get a ride home, had to sleep in my car drunk, sad. Eve Plum is a teenage prostitute. Well, and they would use those to kind of break the mold. You saw Eve Plum, you saw Scott Baio, you saw a lot of people do after school specials, and they would play parts that were vastly different than what we were used to seeing them. And they did that on purpose. Damn, Drunks Again, Mad Mothers. I was a Just Say Yes kid. Dude, I've made the joke before. When you think about it this way, today we will move heaven and earth to try to keep kids from doing drugs, unless we're legalizing it, in which case we're like, have fun. But I mean, the effort, the programs, the school programs, the social media programs, the messaging, everything on point, coordinated in every different method possible. For the kids in the 80s, we were told to just say no. I still think that's hilarious. That was about as much effort as adults were willing to put into it. They cared so little about our well-being that they basically just threw it on us. The best they could come up with wasn't a program about how bad drugs were, educating us, entertaining us, trying to use peer pressure or pop culture to make it look like the popular thing to do was to stay away from drugs. No, the best they could come up with was just simply telling us, just say no. That's it. That's all I got, kid. Just say no. It wasn't even like it wasn't a war on drugs as much as it was a kind of strongly worded suggestion that we abstain. How many house keys did you lose? I kept them in the pocket of my kangaroos. So if they weren't easy to keep track of, because they were just there. But I will remember there were times before I was actually given a key and we just knew how to break into our house at all. If you tell me a Gen X era kid that didn't know how to break into their home, I'll collect their cards at the door. They don't belong here. We all knew how to get into our houses. Yeah, I stayed away from drugs too. True story, not even a joke. I was a very good kid all through high school. I remember Laugh Olympics, but I was also a kid who was afraid of his parents. I always say fear came before respect. I respected my parents, but long before I learned to respect them, they scared the hell out of me because I had no trouble believing that they would take me out. Crash Test Dummies. Yep, I remember all those commercials. Also the band. Screwdriver and Jimmy the Doorknob. We would take pens, pop them out of the pen, so you just had the skinny little the pen part without the plastic around it. Put it through the screens, pop the locks on the screens, pop out the screen, and then open the window. Because there's always a window that just wasn't locked. Tried Mary Jane, but that was it. I met Mary Jane in college. Mary Jane made me sick to my stomach. I threw up 2-3 times, and that was the end of me and Mary Jane. D. Snyder standing up to the PMRC. So that was the Tipper Gore group that wanted to censor music or at the very least label music. And D. Snyder did a master class. If you've never seen it and you want if you want to see someone acting, speaking, portraying themselves completely different than you ever would expect, see that. The man is probably quite literally a genius. Ridiculously well spoken, he handed them their asses. He just put it all out there. It was awesome. Frank Zappa too. Brilliant testimony. We got McGruff the Crime Dog coming in as a memory. Google McGruff the Crime Dog. Google the voice of McGruff the Crime Dog and see where his career went after he voiced McGruff. And if you don't already know, I'll give people a chance to see who does know this, but kind of ironic. Smokey taught me that I guess it was only I that could prevent forest fires. I didn't realize it was all on me, but apparently it was. Labels made kids want to make them more. Yeah, John Denver famously was against labeling because he said once you throw a G rating on my albums, I'll never sell another one. He's like, it works both ways. You will kill my records if you throw a label on mine. He lost his seat on the space shuttle, says Irish Lover, because of his opinions on that. He was dead set against it. There it is. Joseph Tricoli says McGruff is in jail on a weapons and drug charge. Yeah, literally the guy that voiced McGruff the crime dog take a bite out of crime. Had crime take a bite out of him because, as Kevin Pierpoint is also saying, he's in jail. I think he might have gotten out now, but he was in jail for a while. Weapons and drug charges. No, not kidding. Can't make this stuff up. This week we have dysentery in Oregon, and a few years back we had McGruff the crime dog in jail. And McGruff went dirty. Can't make this stuff up. The only thing that would come close to that is finding out that Smokey the Bear was an arsonist. Which would be kind of funny. That's the definition of irony, without a doubt. Are you feeling freaky or geeky? I'm always a little bit of both. Did you have Darren in my school? We did. I was more of a sad kid. Pee Wee Herman, yeah, I remember his arrest. Couple of Power Rangers in prison now, too. Andrew got a new job, start working at Pizza Inn. I want to go back to an 80s era Pizza Hut and work there. Or I wouldn't be opposed to a remember Super Bar at Wendy's? Wendy's always had the best, not even salad bar. It was called a Super Bar in the 90s. Had this great pudding combination, vanilla and chocolate. You could build your own soft tacos. It had salad. It had pasta with meat sauce. Might have even had some pizza on there. And it was like $3.99 all you can eat. $3.99 all you can eat. I was going to UB for school. There was a Wendy's on Maple Ave right down the road. I would get there for lunch, study between classes, and just eat for hours at a time. It was awesome. With the yellow packaging. True. So fun fact, Clancy Brown, the voice of Kingpin and Highlanders, the voice of Mr. Krabs, did not know that. Do I remember fondue restaurants? No, I know they have them now. I didn't know they had them when we were growing up. Microwave popcorn fundraising? I don't. My fundraising that I remember, we sold a lot of wrapping paper. Sold anything with an owl on it. For whatever reason, like calendars. I remember selling calendars, and the one with the owls being the most popular among the old ladies who invited me into their homes while I was going door to door because I had to get a check, and I went in because I'm an idiot. I remember selling World's Finest chocolate bars. I remember selling candy bars of all kinds and candy and eating half of it and selling the others. Yep, World's Finest chocolate bar. Orange Julius, for whatever reason, the boy working there was always so popular. Wendy's baked potato with chili. Hey, Melanie from Houston, how are you? Subway guy ended in jail. Yeah, he did. Ponderosa. I remember Ponderosa. Take care, Lawrence. Thank you for popping in, brother. Actually, it's getting kind of close for me as well. Krispy Kreme donuts. I was more of a Dunkin' Donuts guy when Dunkin' actually really pushed their donuts because it was time to make the donuts. And the thing is, we did that fundraising. So now my 13-year-old will have a fundraiser, and it's basically me putting something out on social media, asking for donations. I do that from time to time. If there's something they're selling that maybe people will want anyway, like a discount card or something, I'm all right throwing up one post. And if it helps the school, great. And if it's something people were going to buy anyway, then I don't feel guilty. So great. But it's on us as parents now. Good night, Doreen. When my kids were a little younger, they would do a fun run. And all they would do is run around outside with color being thrown at them during music. And the fundraising was really on us. When we were kids doing fundraising, it was on us then too. Walking miles and miles and miles around our neighborhoods, other neighborhoods. We were in charge of selling. We were in charge of collecting the money. We were in charge of dropping it off. Parents didn't say, hey, here's where you pick it up, or they didn't take it to the office or to work. The only thing sold at our restaurant wasn't my stuff. We had a placard for UNICEF where you could throw your quarters in by the register. That was the only fundraising done by my parents, and it was done for UNICEF. And then when we were done raising money for our schools, we also went around on Halloween raising money with the UNICEF boxes then too. You're welcome, Chris. Appreciate it. Thank you guys all for being here. Yeah, trick-or-treating for UNICEF. Well, I mean, full circle, we started this episode talking about how Gen X was civically minded. And things like We Are the World, Farm Aid, Band-Aid, USA for Africa, Labor Day telethons with Jerry Lewis, UNICEF, all that stuff really got us thinking about what we could do to make the world a better place around us. And now we're ending up in the same thing, talking again how with our schools, we were the ones doing the can drives, the fundraising. I remember going to neighbors' homes that they hoarded newspapers, and once a year, we would dig them out for our paper drives, of all things. We collected paper around the neighborhoods and then dropped it off at a recycling center and got paid by the pound, and that's how we raised money for events. Hadn't thought about that for years. That's a memory I'd buried. But yeah, that brings us right back full circle to where we started today. Kind of neat that can do that. Box tops, Campbell's soup labels. My mom beat the crap out of me once because she went to the pantry and there were no labels on any of the canned goods. I ripped them all off and didn't label them, and she had no idea what was what. Appreciate you, Deborah Mott. Guys, to those that donated today, that gave gifts, that gave stars, super chats, that picked up a subscription on Facebook, there's a link. If you subscribed, I thank you. If you subscribe later, I thank you. It's 99 cents a month for the subscription, and it just helps me continue to create content. So even if, I don't know, 1 out of every 10 subscribe, it makes a difference. And it's 99 cents to you, but it's a lot of things to me. It's the 99 cents, but that's the least of it. It's seeing you guys as a community and getting that boost that lets me get up and make more content tomorrow. So thank you guys for all of that. This is your page as much as it is mine, and I never forget that. Thank you for sharing the content when you see it, taking my face and putting it on your page, for sending it as a message to friends and family and annoying the crap out of them. I'm sure they appreciate it. Thank you for coming up and saying, hey, when you see me at conventions or different places. I love every second of that. So thank you guys so much. I will be live again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, right here on YouTube and Facebook. And we'll be going live on YouTube Friday, 5:30 p.m. for the wonderful world of the Three View Mirror podcast. It's a show me and 2 of my friends put out every week, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube. Check it out. I think you'll like it. And that's it. That's it for me. Gonna go downstairs and drag the kiddo up. 13-year-old's bedtime is here. Make sure to get her ready and spend the last hour with her. It is Rochelle's turn this week, so I don't know what to expect. Three View is the same time. Friday, it's going to be Friday at 5:30 p.m. It is Rochelle Oblak's turn. She always has 3 topics that are bound to confuse us all, so be here and help me figure it out. Adios, peace, stay rad, take it easy, be cool, stay totally awesome. Funky Bottoms coming in. Remember using all the driveway curbs as ramps, dude, all the time. And then launching into the street and oncoming traffic. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. That'll be the last gift of the night, I would guess. Appreciate you guys. Peace. Sending nothing but love your way.